combines between both, in that it's an act of worship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but at the same time it's mu'amala, it's a transaction that you have with people around you in society. So you're fulfilling the rights of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and you're also giving the money that is not your right, it's the right of the poor person himself. And then when you give the money, you don't give it in a way that I'm at the top and the poor person has a flat. You give it with the fact that this is his money, that he deserves this money. You see, most of us, I say, never give an Asian man, never make him rich, because give an Asian man money and the first thing that happens, he becomes arrogant. This is my money. I earned it. You know, this is my house. Who does he think he is? I'm not giving you any money. This is, and then he gets his nice car and he buys his houses and he walks like what? Everything that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he finds it abhorrent, we start doing, because we feel, what, this is mine, this is this. And then you look at what, and then in the end, the guy's going to die. That this money is not going to come with you, but that's from what? The foolishness of us Muslims, me myself included, that we don't have this thing with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and we rely on all the wrong things, and then we say, Allah, this is LGBT thing and that's happening. So Muslims, the non-Muslims, there's no fear, they don't look up to us, because they see the stupidity in our actions. They don't look up to us, they say, these guys are, now I don't want to be like these lot. You don't represent the prophetic model. You don't represent the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, who between his Sahaba could be sat and they couldn't distinguish which one was the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Imagine that. Which one of us is like that? All of us wants to be what? Kiss my hand, do stuff for me. You want money, you want respect, you want jah, you want to be known, you want to have the nice car. No one is willing to what? Sacrifice all of that for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If you're not ready to do that, then if you're not ready to let go of what? Then you won't reach the status or the maqam of what? Bir, of righteousness, of piety, until you give in the way of Allah, or which you love, that which you love with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We're not going to reach those maqams, those stations of piety, of bir. We're not going to get there. So zakat, it teaches us those things. Zakat teaches us that if we want to become better, give in the way of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. See so many YouTube videos nowadays, how to make the first 100k, then how to make the next million, and how to invest a million. I know it sounds cliche, but people of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they think like that, but in the other way, in the other world. They think how to make your first million with Allah, how to invest that million and then make the next year your first billion with Allah, because they have immense thiqah and belief that this money, they're investing it in the hereafter. وَلَلْآخِرَةُ خَيْرٌ لَكَ مِنَ الْأُولَى. Now what the hereafter is what? Better than this life. وَلَلْآخِرَةُ خَيْرٌ وَلَهِيَ الْحَيَوَانِ. Allah told you what? Al-Hayawan, not Hayawan as in the animal. Hayawan, real life, pure life. That when you die, you realize this wasn't the true life. It was the hereafter that was the real life. That you will sense a reality of things that you never sensed. You think this was like a big daydream, this whole world, it never existed. And then you can sense that from when you read encounters of people who had near-death experiences, and they talk about the experiences they have, some of them, and you can sense that from them. Anyway, the point is that zakah is pivotal. When they asked Muhammad ibn al-Hasan al-Shaybani, rahimahullah, he was who? He was the student of who? Al-Imam Abu Hanifa. Two of his main students are Qadi Abu Yusuf, and his second main student is Muhammad ibn al-Hasan al-Shaybani, rahimahumullah, both of them. Muhammad ibn al-Hasan al-Shaybani is one of the greatest fuqaha of this ummah. He's the teacher of who? Imam al-Shafi'i, rahimahullah. And they asked, because Muhammad ibn al-Hasan al-Shaybani becomes famous for what? Doing naqal, transmitting the aqwal of Imam Abu Hanifa, the Kutub al-Sitta, the Zahir al-Riwayah of Imam Abu Hanifa, the books of the Madhahib, most of them are being transmitted by Muhammad ibn al-Hasan al-Shaybani, at the hands of Muhammad ibn al-Hasan al-Shaybani, and al-Shafi'i himself, يتفقه takes fiqh from Muhammad ibn Hassan al-Shaybani. When they ask him, why haven't you written a book on tasawwuf? You've written a book on fiqh, you've written all the... So he said, I've written a book on kasb. So he writes a book on what? Kitabul kasb. Kasb means acquisition, but here it means what? Financial stuff, as in money transactions and dealings with money and things like that. So he writes a book on kasb, Kitabul kasb. And the early Salaf understood that if you want to know the Islam of somebody, look at his monetary affairs and have some dealings with him in business. You'll find out quickly where his iman's at. Either, and you've heard this, huh? Either you travel with him or you have some monetary dealings with him. Soon will become clear where he's at with his Islam. Everything else, la tubali. Don't pay too much attention to how he dresses, how he speaks, la. Give him a loan, take a loan from him, see how he, if you pay it, see how he reacts. Come on, it's his right, but still see how he reacts. Or have a business dealing with. How many times you find people what don't want to give inheritance? So you may have heard about it in your own families, maybe they don't want to give the inheritance that they've taken, and then brothers fight over their father's inheritance. Kullu hubbu dunya, love of the world, mal, kaza, kaza. Here, al-mal is laysa mal. The wealth is not yours. And zakat teaches us that if you want to become true believers, then give in the way of Allah. But to give zakah and the obligation, to fulfill the obligation, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala requires that you have a certain amount of wealth. That you have a certain amount of wealth, which we call the nisab, which we call the minimum liable amount. That if you don't earn this much, then you're not considered wealthy according to Islam. Legally, you're not considered rich, you're not considered money. Here there's a different opinion. Do I consider the nisab of fidda, of silver, or do I consider the nisab of gold, of dhahab? There's different, they have different values. The nisab of fidda, of silver, is very low at the moment. It's a few £100. If you say it's a few £100, it means all of you are rich in here, most likely. Even guys going to college have probably got a few £100, yeah? You are all rich. That means if you follow this opinion, you are going to have to give zakat. However, the more reliable position is that you take whatever you follow, gold or silver, depending which one, on whatever is more beneficial for the poor person. That's the qaida. So the qaida isn't that you take gold or you take silver. The qaida is ma wa anfaq lil fuqara. Whatever is more beneficial for the faqir, for the poor person. And you tell me, silver more beneficial or gold more beneficial for the poor person? What do you think? Gold is more beneficial. So this is what fahm khati in the most people, that they say silver is more beneficial for the poor person. But it's more beneficial for the poor person if silver is close to the qima, the value of gold. So if I say silver now, it means none of you here even can receive zakat, but you have to give zakat. And do you think having £300 to £400 makes you rich? That's like 1 month, not even 1 month's rent. You can't even survive on £300 to £400. Therefore, what I consider, and I've discussed this with a few people, that the nisab of gold is better to follow in this current climate, which is about maybe 2.5K, something like that, depending on how much gold is worth. So that means that if you earn less than that, so you're a working man, you earn a couple of K a month, maybe 1,500, 2,000 pounds a month, and you're just about surviving. That person is looking after his family, looking after his children, who may be suffering, he should also receive some of your zakat, in my opinion, because this person, yes, he's working, but he's also considered poor. And that's why we have what the faqir and the miskin. One is considered what? Totally destitute, has nothing. And the other one, he has stuff, but he's considered less than the nisab value. He just have money. And sometimes this category of people get forgotten about. So you may have family members, why I say this, because you may have family members or friends who are close to you, who are suffering, but you don't realize it, because you feel that, oh, well, they've got food on their table, and their family, they're married and stuff like that, but you don't realize they're actually living hand to mouth. If you ask them how much you got in your bank, they probably say they got £30 and they just about paid this month's contract or something like that, and they're just about making do with some bread and something like that, or whatever. You don't realise, that's why from the sir and the secrets of zakat is what? Upholding silatul rahim. That's why it's recommended that we give zakat, to also give it to people that you know, because you're fulfilling zakat and you're also fulfilling the action of what? Keeping ties or keeping relation with people, your family ties. So if you know people around you or your ties, be one of those people that he knows his people around him, who he interacts with, whether it's his acquaintances, whether it's his brothers, whether it's family and stuff like that. That sometimes back in the day you may have had uncles or family members, they looked after their family. They were given the position as that, semi-head of the family, the eldest, but they help people. If they had money, they would go and help. Even till this day, I know people who, they keep an eye on people. They know this guy, so they'll go and give him £1,000. They'll go and donate some money. Such and such a guy would go and support such family because they had nothing. In this society, we become what? Ana. That's what Shaykh Rahman al-Sha'buri would say, when qala ana, ja'ahu al-ana. Whoever says ana, then suffering will come to him. It's all about himself, and in the end, if you keep thinking that ana, me, in the end everyone's going to be like you then, as in we don't want to help you, tamam. So, and remember, your iman is what's important. In all of this that you're doing, you're relying on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and Allah is aware of the actions that you do, and He will open the doors for you, of facilitation for you, tawfiq for you in your life. If you're spending in the way of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and trust me, all of you can save money somewhere and give wherever it is, whether it's 10p, 50p a pound, you can save money and you can do, and have tanawwu, which means that giving different causes as well. That there could be causes that are here in the UK, there could be causes that are family related, there could be projects that you can donate to. It's not necessarily related to zakat, because you can't give zakat to what? You can't give zakat to projects. This is fiqh mas'ala, but you can't give zakat for a school, for example. You can't give zakat to build a garden or a madrasa. There are only 8 eligible recipients of zakat, and in our school, in the Hanafi school, you can give to any one of those 8 zakat. You can give to Tullab ilm in our madhab as well. So if you have a student of knowledge, support him. There's so many Central Asian students who are studying abroad, but literally pennies. They come in nothing. They're married, they have kids, and then they'll study Islam. The wife will go and work in a salon and do like manicures and pedicures and stuff like that to earn a living. They'll leave the kids at home. Sometimes they're on the street, little kids, while he's at university and she's at the salon and working, and then she'll basically like go try and do a uni job, try and go to uni as well and study when he's finished and he has time, and they both literally living like that, and they come from really nice places in Kyrgyzstan, Kazakhstan, and it's really nice, but they're poor, and they come to study Islam and they have literally nothing. And you have like sort of rich Arabs or people like that who sometimes provide scholarship for them, or the Shaykh himself is sometimes fund their studies and things like that. It's limited what you can do. So there are like sort of different pots of money that they look for and things like that. But they have they go to study. They sacrifice time. It's not about just I want to make it in the world. No, these people literally they give all of their time and effort to study the deen, and you see ajaib, literally you see people and you think, wow, I don't know how you're doing this as well. You think you've got it rough, then you see someone else and think, I don't know how these guys are doing it. But the thing is, it teaches them grit. It makes them strong. You see, if you want to survive in the world, you've got to have this grit. You've got to, you see, we're as a community, we just can't be bothered doing anything anymore. Nor do you want to earn money, nor do you want to give money, nor do you want to learn ilm, nor do you want to teach ilm. It's just a bit like, all over this. You have to have musba'in in between you, your objective of life. You must have in between you, like, this is the goal that I'm trying to reach to. And everything that you do, must benefit your goal and objective in life. Tamam? And for us, it's simple. We want to please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So whether it's any job, anything that you're doing, you have to have a target that you're reaching towards. Tamam? Anyway, the asrar and the secrets of zakat are many for different lessons. Tamam? Inshallah, we have a future lesson we can look at zakat itself. So it says when you have money on which zakat is payable, be aware of when it falls due. Because what we have, what? Zakat is only due after what? Hawalain al-hawl. After a whole year passes on that wealth. Because wealth, by its very nature, bequeaths capital. It's profiting by its very nature. So gold and silver is an asset by its very nature. In itself, even if you do nothing, it's considered like as if you've invested in an asset itself. It bequeaths capital or profit. So if you have it and you've had it for a year, that in itself is enough for you to now pay zakat on that money. On that money. So anything else, cryptocurrency, regardless of whether you can say permissible or impermissible, whether you have stocks, whether you have investments, whether you have anything that you can access the money, your own money, where multiple accounts, shares, whatever, all of that must be taken into consideration. Whether you have trade goods, anything above your basic necessities, this is all considered your wealth, and this wealth you must give zakat on. So it's not simply when you get older and you start having all the different pots of money everywhere, it can get a bit complicated. The best way is to make sure you write everything down. So it's about keeping good bookkeeping. You must know how much you've got, when your zakat date was, how much is this, and it's pennies really. 2.5% is nothing. You give £25 on every £1,000. It's not much, is it? You go eat and you pay £25 for like what? A few burgers and chips. So it's not much. So you give £25, £50, whatever it is. It's not a large amount of money. And you can. What's wajib for you to do is to take the money and put it to the side. Meaning the money that you've got, so you've got £50 and you need to give that in zakat, that you take the money and you say this £50 allocated the £50 and I need to give this money. So then you may then give £10 here, £10 there, that's fine. The next issue is it wajib al-fawr or al-tarahi? Is it something I need to give straight away or can I wait? So for example, if I have this £50, do I need to take it and give it straight away? And every day that I'm not giving it, am I sinful? Here there's a difference of opinion. Is it, can I wait or can I not wait? Some said that you need to give it al-fawr, meaning that, say my date is 13th Rabiul Awwal, for example. Remember, you have to follow the Hijri calendar as well, not the solar calendar, not the Gregorian calendar. You follow the Hijri calendar because the years are shorter. So you follow the Hijri calendar and say mine is 15th Rabiul Awwal, and it happens and you take the money and you realize that your zakat is £100. Can I just write the £100 down, note it, and give it whenever I want, as long as I give it before I pass away? That's wajib al-tarahi, meaning as long as I give it before I pass away, it's fine, I'm not sinful. And the other one is al-fawr, meaning immediate payment, meaning every day that I'm not paying the £100, I'm sinful. In reality, there's both opinions have strong positions. Some of my teachers said wajib al-tarahi, meaning it's fine as long as you don't give it before you give it before you pass away. I incline towards this position just because most people here will end up being sinful because if you say it's wajib al-fawr, meaning most people, what do? They give it in Ramadan. So they wait Ramadan and they give it in Ramadan for the extra reward. So even if it's wajib in Rabiul Awwal, they wait and then they give it in Ramadan. So according to giving it immediately, you'd be sinful for waiting 6 months before you give it in Ramadan. But here I incline towards the other position, which is that it's fine as long as you know that you need to give this much money and you give it before you pass away. No.
You must separate zakat from your wealth and then distribute it. Do not be like certain worldly people who do not keep it separately and who give it away piecemeal to deserving people as they come along until the amount to be spent is all paid. Do not eat of your crops when they amount to a nisab, and when their quality has been apparent until you know how much of its dry weight will be due. If you want to eat from certain specific trees, then you should calculate only that which will be due from them. Know that those who devise ruses to escape giving zakat, for instance by giving gifts, those who knowingly give it to people who do not deserve it, and those who distribute it according to their whims, as for instance by giving it to someone whom they know will soon be useful to them, none of these men shall leave the world until God has punished them through their wealth, and the torment of the hereafter is even greater if they but knew.
No, you can't like have what we call legal stratagem. So you've got to hear, so you know this guy, he's a business partner of yours, and you realize that he needs a car. So you give him the money, knowing full well that that money is going to go back into your business and somehow come back to you. Legally, you could say that's correct, it's permissible. But what we call, there's two things. You have qada, which is legally something is correct, but then you have what we call iftar, which is between you and Allah. So between you and Allah, you've sinned, which Allah knows your intentions. So legally, you've fulfilled the thing. But between you and Allah, Allah knows why you did it and what your reasons were. So you might as well fool everyone else, you can't fool Allah. So legally, as you pay the zakat, qada, and the qadi can't come and now take your sheep off you. Because you paid the sheep, so but between you and Allah, you've sinned. That you've done something wrong because you know full well that in 6 months' time this money is going to come back to you, for example. Right? Can you give money to your wife, or can your wife give you money? That's a different opinion. Right? The most reliable is that the wife is allowed to give the money to the husband if he's poor. Right? But the other way around, you can't. So if your wife's rich and you're poor, then the mother is allowed to take zakat off her. No.
And if this is the state of those who do not give it strictly according to the law, what must it be in the case of those who do not give it at all? Those are they who purchase error at the price of guidance, so their commerce does not prosper, neither are they guided.
So if you can give, what is it, 1 million or something a week, or players from Liverpool going to Saudi and play, imagine the amount of zakat that they have, that they could give to the poor people around the world. See, the thing is it allowed? People say, yes, allowed, Sahaba never said, the rich Sahaba, they were rich Sahaba, but their Sahaba also gave all the wealth in the way of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as well. So, they were rich Sahaba, but people like Abu Bakr Siddiq gave all their wealth, people like Umar ibn al-Khattab gave half of their wealth. So, it's not about wealth, it's about what you do with the wealth. So it's halal to earn money, it's halal to earn loads of money, you give it, but then be prepared to give it in the way of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala if the need arises as well. Meaning that when you have wealth and you don't give it, meaning you're attached to the wealth, and that's what is blameworthy. So if people say, Islam said nothing about not being businessmen and not profiting. No, it doesn't. Be businessmen, profit, but then be attached to Allah and not the money. Meaning if the time arises and says you need the money. So it says that the other day I spoke to someone, I said, I need a loan for something, an organization. I said, give us 5k. I know this person has a lot of money, hundreds of thousands of pounds. So the sum that I wanted was minimum amount. The thing is, he couldn't part with it. Even though it's a loan, you're going to get the money back in 2-3 years or whatever. It's very difficult to persuade someone to give money in the way of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So when you've got people where, this money that they have in the Khalij and stuff like that, this is what is the right of the Muslims. It's not theirs. The land is not theirs. This is the right of every single Muslim. The ghanima, the booty that they are on is not just theirs. Every Muslim has a right to that. Every Muslim has a right to the land of the Muslims, and we all have a right of the wealth that they have in the Muslim lands. Why? Because it was never theirs in the first place. This was the awqaf and the wealth of the Sahaba radiallahu anhum ajma'in. Till this day, lands in Iraq and places like that, these were distributed by Umar ibn al-Khattab. You can't come and then say this is mine. This was land given, distributed by the people that came after the Prophet ﷺ for what? For the benefit of the Muslims. So people then come in and say, oh, well, we can do whatever we want. The people that govern Muslim lands have a right to distribute the wealth fairly between the Muslims. And they don't do that. And they don't do that. And they will all pay with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for this whole madness that we live in. We really don't support the madness. If you can say, oh well, I can't do anything about it, I'm just watching it. You are inadvertently, you support the madness. That's the thing. You've got to be better than that. You've got to literally move away from that. If it wasn't that people didn't enjoy this stuff, they would never do this stuff. It's only because we enjoy half the stuff that they do, the entertainment, the lahu, and all this stuff, the futility and this whole run. That's why they do it, because they know the money is here. They know if they build the highest building, Al-Qudai, whatever it's called, tower, that you're going to come and stay there. They know that. But if they realize no one's interested, they wouldn't build half the stuff that they're building. But most of us, we want to go Qatar, we want to watch the World Cup, we want to be there, we don't want to miss out, and they know that. If, imagine, that people in Yemen or places like in the lands where people study, they knew that, if we open madaris, people are going to come and study, and wouldn't madaris be thriving right now, knowing that there's so much interest right now and so many books being published and research because people are interested? Wouldn't it give moral support to ulama everywhere, knowing that if I write a book, it's going to sell like wildfire? Right now, if I write a book, I'll tell you, it'll be sat in my sitting room for the next 5 to 6 years, about 50 to 100 copies will sell, and I'll just think, what's the point? I ain't writing a book, it's like, no one's going to read it. So it's not giving moral support, is it, to people about Islam? So there's one thing watching that you're inadvertently, when you talk about it, when you discuss these things, when you waste your time, you inadvertently support the things that they do. And in my opinion, it's all really unethical and question marks whether it's all even permissible, to be honest, because it's all lahu, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He abhors lahu. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala doesn't enjoy you or Muslims spending their time in futile, and there's no benefit there.
The withholder of zakat is as evil as the one who leaves the ritual prayer. Abu Bakr, may God be pleased with him, fought them and called them apostates.
Now, Abu Bakr Siddiq, anhu, when he found that there was a tribe who refused to give zakat, Abu Bakr Siddiq fought them on this matter. Allah, this is part of Deen, Bunya al-Islam, wala khams, laysa arba. It's not built on 4 or 3 or 2. You have no choice in the matter. Wa aqimu as-salah wa atu zakat. As long as you believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you accept it all. There's no pick and choose. You will give the zakah just like everybody else. And so Abu Bakr Siddiq, he fired, I won't get into the story, but the point is that it is part and parcel of what your faith as a Muslim. Tu'min billah, you believe in Allah, and salah, zakat, sawm, these things are what? Part and parcel of the faith that you claim now.
You must give zakat al-fitr at the end of Ramadan if you are required to, for yourself and on behalf of all those from whom you provide.
Now, so this is a sadaqat al-fitr, of Eid al-fitr, to show shukr, and what we call jabr al-nuqsan, to repair the sort of, the deficiencies in your fast. You give half a sa of wheat, which is like 1.75 kilograms worth of wheat. You give that to the poor. That's the asal, that's the basis, is what, giving half a sa of wheat, or a sa, which is obviously 3 kilograms of, 3.5 kilograms of dates. So you can give that to the poor, or you can give its monetary equivalent. So obviously it's like, well, it is £4, £5, it changes every year. You give that equivalent to the poor. And there's rulings regarding that in fiqh.
Be liberal with charity, especially to needy relatives and people of virtue. Charity is better and brings more.
So we've discussed this as well. So needy relatives, but also people of virtue, meaning people that are pious, ulama, help them. The early Salaf would say that if they wanted their child to be an alim, they would go and help a certain alim who would serve him. They say, if my child doesn't become an alim, as Al-Muji says, then his child will become an alim, as in your grandchild will become, someone in your lineage will become, through your service to a pious person or a sheikh or a scholar, they'll become an alim. Don't think little of those things. Tamam? These are what we call the asbab of the other world. Tamam? There's asbab in this world that you take, you go to work, you get money and this and that and all the sort of physical asbab, causes that you take, but there are other asbab as well. There are metaphysical things happening. And sometimes those are even stronger than your physical asbab, meaning if someone in your lineage or your ancestors made dua for a pious lineage, it could be that your piety right now is because of a dua that someone made a few hundred years ago for you. Their disobedience could be the reason that why you turned out a bit wrong as well. Because there's a hadith like that certain action, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala causes the effects to run for 7 generations. As in it carries on in the for 7 generations. That's what some of them say, the secret of the people of Allah is that they had pious ancestors. They had people who were pious, and trust me, when you see someone pious, you'll realize that they had some type of pious person in the family somewhere. And those who turn out pious, even though they don't have pious families, then they are rare, but they should be congratulated. Why? Because they've gone against the grain of their whole family and they've decided that they're going to become pious, forget their whole family. That's rare. But meaning, become people, help the pious, help them, serve them. In Ta'lim has a whole chapter in there, and he talks about the benefits of people helping the people of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If you can't become an alim, then at least serve an alim. Be someone who serves a scholar or a pious person. Help him with it, whether it's his works, help him whether he needs a space, anything. Help that person. You'll see the benefits in your life.
No. Charity is better and brings more reward when it's given in this way. Give of that which you like best and which is dear to you, so that you may attain to virtue. God the Exalted has said, you will not attain to virtue until you spend of that which you love. Put others before yourself, even in times of need, and you will become one of the successful. Keep your charity secret for secret charity.
And this is the answer. الذين يؤثرون على أنفسهم ولو كان بهم خصاصة. That they preferred the muhajirun, the people of Quraysh, like the people who migrated to Medina, over their own selves, even though they were in more need than them. Even though they were in need and in dire straits, they give preference to the Muhajirun, the people who migrated to Medina. This was the Ansar, that's why they call what? The helpers. They're the ones who preferred their own needs over, they preferred the others' needs over their own needs. How can Islam? This is what? This is an Islam. This is the message of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Not, I'm going to eat nicely. When I have anything left, then I'll help the guy next door. Then I'll give to the organization. Then I'll do what I can. But I'm going to make sure I'm sorted out. My family's all good. I'm going to go on a few holidays. Then if I have a few things left, then I'll make sure that I've got something left. You always, but until less than what you're not from those that are trying to become close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala anytime soon. Those people who can prefer others over their own needs. How is that? It's not easy. It's easy, real iman. That's why tasawwuf is so important. To be tasawwuf. All these ma'ani, it can only happen if iman is fully ingrained in your heart. It's fully etched inside of you. That's why I mentioned at the beginning, without ilm, which is iman is knowledge. But tasdeeq, iman is a type of ilm. This produces what? Hal, and the hal produces amal. So without iman, and iman is what? What do you need? You need things to strengthen it. Zikr, mujahadat, riyada, suhbat al-salihin, seeing the people of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You're not going to get the hal, and you're not going to do the amal. That's why the asal of all everything, the basis of everything is just what? Your relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and what the strength of the iman that you have is
Keep your charity secret, for secret charity extinguishes the Lord's wrath. 7.
And this is the basis, that every charity that you do, the original or the asal is that it should be secret. Tamam? That your right hand doesn't know what the left hand doesn't know what your right hand did. Tamam? It's secret. As in, shuhra, to give something out of people say, oh, so and so made this mosque and so on. This is blameworthy. Alright. Only if there's an exception, if you do it to encourage others. But this is what? Not all the time. Sometimes. Not every Friday. I don't know if it's in your mosque, but £5, £10, this so and so give a perspective around there, £100, £50. I don't know why they can't just write it on the board and just say, it's khatam for so and so person. So you need to say £10, £15, £20. So, if you love that person that's died, are you not going to recite Yasin for him if the guy can give £20 for his name or something like that? I don't understand. Really, Isal Thawab, when you say Isal Thawab, sending Thawab to the dead person or the deceased person, the reality is it depends on the power, the potency of your intention. As if I just read it like this, without having any clue who I'm reciting it for, most likely it may not reach. We have good hope that it reach, but most likely it may not reach the end. Why? Because there's no real connection to the meaning, intention towards why you're reading it. You reading it on your own at home with the actual hope and love for the person that's passed away, and with intention and potency, there's more chance that we reach the dead person. Because you're reading with what media? With ikhlas. You actually want this reward to reach. You didn't read ikhlas for everyone's in the khatam and he was there and you want food at the end. Most likely there's not much enough intention there for it to reach the dead person. So the asal is that alas that your zakah is what? Secret, hidden. Not a secret hidden. Now try and give a little every single day. I know it's hard because now everything's digital and to go on your phone and this and that, whatever. But try and give this out. I mentioned a story of a lady in Yemen. So she would give every single day. She would donate something. She would donate something, whether it's food or money or whatever. One day she had a loaf of bread, and she couldn't find anybody to give this bread to. And she found a donkey, and so she took the loaf of bread and she shoved it in the donkey's mouth. And so when she passed away, when they were washing her, she was smiling. And then someone saw in the dream and said, why were you smiling when you were washing you in the grave? And she said, I saw the day where I took the loaf of bread and I stuck it in the donkey's mouth, and she remembered the good time that she remembered that time when she did that, and she laughed and she smiled on the day when she did that. Because when you pass away, your whole life is shown in front of you. When you do someone good, and this is what Bashair, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sends angels just before you pass away to tell you there's no hope for you, there's no fear for you, there's no sadness for you. نَحْنُ أَوْلِيَاؤُكُمْ فِي الْحَيَاةِ الدُّنْيَا and we are the ones that will look after you in this world, and when you pass away, don't be scared. So it's not a scary moment for the people of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's actually a moment of ecstasy and joy. Why? Because they see the angels coming, they see what awaits them, they see the paradise that's coming for them. They want to pass away. That's why you bury them quickly. Because they've just seen paradise and Jannah and they want to go there. They don't want to stay in this world. For those that, Allah protect us, that are not behaved properly, then they see the life that they left behind and they feel sadness and they don't want to be buried because they know what's coming in front of them. And it's going to be worse than what they're in right now. So they want to say, where you take it, you don't take it. So these are the people of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala makes us, allow us to be like those people. We live in the West. We live in a land that is scarce of those types of people. See, our ancestors, they didn't live like us. There were many pious people in the village. You see, literally, I heard someone talk the other day, and literally you hear like normal guys, normal elderly guys, who never miss tahajjud. Just normal guy, not a scholar. It's just this guy, my granddad, he never used to miss tahajjud, and he'd always be in the mosque, and he never missed the salah in the mosque, and he had to look really bright and illuminated, and just added like normal guys, old men who just like really like practicing and pious. Now if we just pray, forget the hajj, we just pray, people think, man, we pious, man, he prays and stuff like that. Back in the day, our ancestors were probably like really pious now, but we've lost that. We live in the West and we become what? Ruled by the West. That's why Shaykh Abdul Karim al-Mudarris says, لا تبتروا بالحديث. Shaykh Abdul Karim al-Mudarris, one of the greatest awliya of the past like 50, 60 years in Iraq. We used to be in Hadra al-Qadiriyya in Baghdad. We would always be there in Baghdad in Iraq. And he was one of the great Shafi jurists and awliya of his time. لا تبتروا بالحديث. Don't be deluded by iron, meaning the material world. لا تبتروا. Don't be fooled by it. So all it is just things, it's just material. Don't be fooled by it, don't be deluded by it. No.
Keep your charity secret, or secret charity extinguishes the Lord's wrath, 70 times better than public charity, and is safe from the ostentation that ruins it.
That when you've done a misdeed or sin, one of the ways of procuring Allah's rida or contentment is to give in the way of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's also a way of what we call of training yourself. Meaning that if I do a misdeed and I can't stop doing the misdeed, one of the ways Imam Ghazali talks about is to give a fine on your own self. Give yourself a fine. Say that if I do this again, I'm going to give £50 to a certain scholar who comes on Wednesdays. A certain teacher, you're going to give him £50. Every time you do that sin, lo and behold, your nafs is going to hate that. And it's going to stop doing the sin because you're giving it a fine. You're saying, oh, fast. Anything that is hard upon yourself. Fast, or pray juz of the Quran, or pray 5 juz of the Quran. It's one of the secrets of training yourself. So one of the ways also to procure shifa, healing, is to give in charity. That's why a tradition that's passed down with some of the ulama is that they would give in dates, in charity, the weight of the shifa of Qadi Iyad. So they would take the heaviest copy of a shifa of the Qadi Iyad, they would weigh and they would give the amount of dates or whatever it was according to the weight of the shifa of Qadi Iyad. This one called Ashya' Mujarraba. It's not, you're going to find a hadith saying, what way to keep out. Obviously, it's not any, evidence in the Quran or Sunnah for these types of things. These are ashya' mujarraba, with dope. So some people have evidence for everything. There is no evidence for everything. There's what we call experience the thing. When you give charity, this happens. You keep doing it, you realize, this works. This is what we call sunnatullah fil kawn. This is how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala operates in the world. Some people can access it, some people can't. Some people have evidence for it all. Sometimes you just know it. So if I say, if I open this ketchup bottle like this and I squeeze it this much, this is what happens, this much comes out. There's no evidence for it that you press it in and do this. I've done so many times that you know how to open a can or do this or do that. There's no evidence for it. It's sunnatullah fil kawn. This much pressure causes this reaction. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling you, in the metaphysical world, if you do something that causes Allah's wrath, give in the way of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and you will hopefully, inshaAllah, remove Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's wrath.
Never neglect to give something away every day, even if a small amount, and do this early, for hardships do not cross the protected barrier of charity. Never disappoint a beggar who stands at your door, and give him even as little as a date or less, for he is a gift from God to you. If you find nothing to give, then send him away graciously with kind words and with a promise.
It's difficult. I'm not saying it's easy, it's difficult. Some people, they may not deserve it and they're not actually poor, and they do it as a sort of tijara or business or whatever. Don't hold anything against them in your heart, even if you don't give anything to them. Don't think, don't shun them away, don't shout at them, don't walk past them or whatever. If you feel that they don't deserve it and you know fully that these people are, they're not rightfully due anything. But 8 times out of 10, you're not 100% sure. So in that case, if you have something, even if it's 5p or 10p, and if they ask you for it, you just give it to them. because it's not going to leave it, you're not going to miss anything from that. So don't shun them. But as for the question and the one who beseeches you, then don't like be harsh towards him. Don't like say, I see what you do, get away from you. Don't be like that. Mu'min is what? He's mutawadid, he's humble. He has something, gives it. He's like saying, I don't have anything, I'm sorry. I'll move on.
No. When you give a needy person something, smile at him and be aware that it is you who are indebted to him. For he accepts a little from you, for which you receive a reward worth more than the whole world. It has been said that a single morsel of food may bring a reward from God greater than Mount Uhud.
Feeding food to a Muslim, not to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam says feed food to people, not necessarily feed food to each other. But I do feel that we all eat quite a bit in the West. But again, obviously, we don't like everyone's state of affairs and stuff like that. People are at, but try and also help people who don't have to suffer. Whether it's Muslim or non-Muslim, there's so many non-Muslim families who literally suffer. I'm telling you, I mentioned this like months ago. If you feed them, if you look after them, there's no doubt that you'll be able to win their hearts. There's no doubt that you'll be able to win them over. There's no doubt whatsoever. The thing is, we have in our cultural or traditional thing that me, myself, my own family, everyone else can suffer. Doesn't matter, as long as we're alright in our sitting room and we're all watching TV and everything is fine. This is not the place our son told us about. Your neighbours have a right over you, and that you must make sure that the community that you live in, that you're there, you're supportive, you're inclusive, you're there, you're doing stuff. It's not about let everybody else sort it out. You're all going to be asked about it as well. I don't understand. Some people say, I'm going to get involved in projects and institutes and this and that. I'm just going to do my own thing. Do your own thing. But you're still going to be asked about what did you do for the community? How did you help the poor people? How did you do the khidmah? How did you do da'wah? Don't get involved in that institute if you don't like it. But you still have to do something. You can't just sit at home and do nothing because you're going to be asked about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because if you don't get involved in the mosque or the community centre, the institute, you don't like them, fair enough. But what did you do for the khidmah? What did you do for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? How did you help the people in your area? How did you support your neighbours that were poor? How? For us, if you anything was too busy with work, it's not going to be answered with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
No. Do not let the fear of poverty prevent you from giving charity, for it is the abandonment of charity which brings on poverty.
No. So here the ayat in the Quran about what? Awlad, that people who they fear having children, or fear of what? Wealth. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, نَحْنُ نَرْزُقُكُمْ وَإِيَّاهُمْ, that we will provide for them and you, as in don't worry about it. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, clear verses in the ayat. So some people say, how come having a fifth child or a sixth child? How are you going to pay for those children? How are you going to do, like there's one child benefits like 2 children. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, don't fear imla, don't fear poverty. نَحْنُ نَرْزُقُكُمْ, we'll provide for them. I'll guarantee you have a child, he comes with his own risk and sustenance. You'll have people giving you money, you'll have people giving children, you'll have bags full of clothes, that used clothes that you end up giving away in charity because everyone's giving you like clothes and this and that and they get fed and you get invited and it's their risk, not yours. I would say have children if you want to get sustenance and this because they come with their own purpose. So there's a whole thing about having kids and 2 kids and because if you don't want to have children for other reasons, that's fine. But don't not have children out of fear of poverty. That's the shi'ar, that's from the signs of those who don't have tawakkul and reliance in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's not from the signs of, that's why you look at what your ancestors again, or people from the Asian group, they had 9 children, 12 children, 13, 15, 1 children. They never feared poverty one bit. They never feared poverty one bit. They all got fed. Have you ever heard anyone dying in your families because they have too many kids? I've not heard anybody. Because the reason being they have too many children. And you know what? If we just didn't have this 3rd child, we would have all survived. And because he came, we didn't get enough food. impossible, sir. Impossible. Like Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala provides for them.
Charity, on the contrary, attracts wealth. If the pursuer of the world gave much charity, it would return to him multiplied. Know that charity has immediate and long-term benefits. It immediately increases provision, lengthens life, protects from an evil death, gives bodily health, and puts barakah into wealth. Later on, it will extinguish sins as water extinguishes fire, shade the head of his giver on the day of rising, protect him from punishment and many other things. Only those who repent remember.
No. So these are some of the benefits of giving in charity and giving in zakah. Remember, you don't have a choice to give zakah, but giving in charity, sadaqah. Remember, if you can't give sadaqah, there's a hadith that it's even more rewarding to give a loan to someone who is in need. That there are, that loaning money is also high, rewarding in a very immense way. So if you have money, and you don't want to give in charity, but you can loan money, then that is also very rewarding. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reward you immensely. So let us not become more self-centric communities and self-centric, but let's consider each other's, where everyone is and help one another to bring barakah not only into your own life, but into your own wealth, into your families, into your children. You look at the way our children are raised. Again, it's this whole metaphysical asbab that if your child, in its reading, there's a physical element, there's a physical teaching, but there's also a metaphysical element, which is dua, which is making dua in the third portion of the night, which is what giving in charity. All this helps in the tarbiyah of your awlad and your children. It's not all physical. This is the difference between us and everyone who doesn't follow our way, our manhaj of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And I've said this over and over again, we have everything. Everything. But in our tradition, every answer has been answered, every question has been answered. But the thing is, we haven't accessed it. You don't know it's there. You don't know it's there. There are things in the Ihya that whole books have been written by Westerners on one line in the Ihya, like how, for example, what we mentioned before, how ilm causes what, like a state, and how this state, and how knowledge is the basis of everything, and Our ulama mentioned in passing, like it's something that they've just come across and it's something minor. You get what I mean? But we have access to our own tradition. We don't understand the worth of the Quran in all reality. So we don't realize that every single word is a potential for this, creating this high within you. Say Alhamdulillah causes me to be grateful, and Ar-Rahman, who is Ar-Rahman, and the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So we are, I'm stopping now. Yeah. It is very hot and it is quite stuffy, so even I'm suffering here quite a bit. So inshallah, we stop here. We just ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that accepts these classes, and we all become people who give in the way of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Don't let money be a source of your depression. Don't let it bring you down. Always have reliance on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. There have been times, trust me, I've had these times where you've had 20 to 30 pounds, nothing. But the thing is, next thing you know, you get a little eat and someone just send you money from work, and you're just like, wow, I don't expecting that. It just happens. Those who serve in the way of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, la khawfun alayhim wa la hum yahzanun. There's no fear for them, and they'll never be stressed out. They never have any type of harm come to them. Have thicker, have confidence with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When you have a good opinion of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then I'll leave it with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgive us and show us the right path, and yaftah alayna futuhakum min al-arifin. There's a lot of work to do. There's a lot of work to do. In your community in Manchester, there's a lot of work to do. Don't let days go by and you've not done anything. Start the work, become real Muslims. Just do it, literally. don't procrastinate. Just set the goals that you want in your life and just start. Inshallah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will make things easy for you, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept our efforts and our actions and make us beloved to Him, and Allah will see the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم. الفاتحة.